this item. I'd like to invite them to come forward, queue up in the aisle, and then we'll take the public comment, and then we'll proceed to kind of council questions and further direction. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Mark Brawley with the Valley Climate Action Center. The Climate Action Center put together a technical advisory group to comment and evaluate the consultant's report to the City Council. I distributed copies of the executive summary to members of the council. The summary highlights weaknesses in the consultant's analysis that must be corrected in the next phase of work. What is needed is a business plan for the critical first 5 years of the Davis Municipal Electric Utility. The technical advisory group agreed with the consultants that the municipal utility would be better than the status quo for 5 of the city's 7 objectives. 1, expanding clean energy. 2, reducing greenhouse gas emissions. 3, reducing resource consumption. 4, fostering economic vitality and people-centered urban design. And 5, more community control of energy decisions. More work is needed to demonstrate that a municipal utility could deliver lower rates than the status quo and greater reliability. Quote, analysis based on the detailed cost buildups and forecasts will be needed to define the scenarios in which the new Davis publicly owned utility can be expected to deliver lower retail prices. The executive summary says, scenarios that require major capital investment in new distribution infrastructure and our local renewable generation may show credible long-term savings. What we have now is not adequate for the city's decisions. If we move ahead, we must make sure that we get what we need.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Hello, council members. I'm Bill Knox, and I actually chaired the city's energy task force that recommended pursuing annexation by SMUD back around 2000-2001 time period. And also, our other recommendation was to seek funding for our own local energy efficiency program, which we did, and we ran for 4 years here, first for Davis and then for Yolo County. And I think that was actually the first time that Davis and Yolo County got anywhere near to a decent percentage of what they put in to, paid through their rates and through the public goods charge for energy efficiency. It's not equally distributed throughout the state. And that's one clear advantage that we would have in having a public utility. I just kind of wanted to toss that out because we have experience running that kind of program here in Davis before. But I'm really encouraged by hearing what city staff is bringing forward, and I think it's a good methodical approach that it is really going step by step and doing the things in the order that they need to be done. And I agree that I think that the first study is an initial study, and I think that there needs to be more detailed analysis, and I think Davis is in a particularly good position because not only do we have the potential to get really fine people on board to do this in conjunction with city staff, but we also have community members that can lend their expertise, that have expertise in all kinds of fields related to the development of municipal utilities. I think it's important to note that we do have these quarterly check-ins, and I think we'll be able to, the council will be able to keep tabs on what's going on, and just as the public will as too, and be able to lend support where we can. I think this is in the long-term interest of Davis. I think that the economics that SMUD looked at saw that it could be in the long-term interest of Davis and eventually of SMUD as well because of the economies of scale. And fundamentally, little has changed since those detailed analyses were done back around 2004 and 5 as we approached the elections, in which Davis folks overwhelmingly endorsed the annexation by SMUD and the removal of the franchise from PG&E because of the clear benefits. And I think as we continue to study, we'll be able to flesh these out better. And but I fully expect to see the same kind of benefits that that SMUD's analysis showed in the past. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill, very much. Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm Gerry Braun. I am a Davis resident and have a long career in energy, including a couple of California electric utilities. You may recall that I volunteered.
Jerry, would you just adjust the mic up? Great.
Volunteered to serve
Thanks.
on the Rate Advisory Committee. I appreciate Mark's summarizing the advisory group report, and I want to refer to that in the context of the work plan that's been proposed. One of the things in the advisory, in the TAG report is a list of about a dozen economic risks and opportunities that I believe would be the core considerations in developing a business plan. And I want to put that in the context of the work plan. There are a couple of terms in the work plan that I think are particularly important. Due diligence. Normally due diligence is invoked at the point an investment decision has been tentatively made, and it asks the question, what have we missed? And I think that the 12 or so considerations that I mentioned in the TAG report at the end are, in fact, some things that not necessarily were missed, but that need to be addressed in the next phase. And I think they should have priority. The other term, business model, I think is very important. Business model of electric utilities, whether municipal utilities or investor-owned utilities, have not changed. The basic business model have not changed in probably a few decades. Meanwhile, energy industry leaders are coming to understand that there is a major transformation ahead, driven by disruptive technologies that will actually, they are unstoppable because they save money. So again, I support Mark's comment that a business plan is needed that anticipates, exploits, and catches the wave of this transformation. Should be based on bottoms-up cost estimates and detailed energy usage forecasts. Unfortunately, there are members of the Rate Advisory Committee that can assist, donate their time, and help decide what competitively sourced studies and so forth need to be done. And I would also recommend that anything that is competitively sourced be peer-reviewed. I think the TAG members are willing to serve in that capacity, or that can be competitively sourced as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Welcome.
Good evening. Gene Wilson, City of Davis resident. Just wanted to bring your attention to some comments that I had heard about whether this was the right time to proceed with this project or whether it should be postponed. And there's several factors, I think, that argue strongly for staying the course. I think the council's made the right decisions in this area. I think what you voted for and approved is right on target, and what's needed is to go ahead and carry out what you have already set down. As far as the $600,000, this was made clear by staff, but that money, as we all know, and everyone should be clear about, does get repaid by the municipal utilities. So in the meantime, the water fund the wastewater fund is making a good return on a loan to the general fund, and that, I think insulates the general fund from any immediate consequence. So the other point is, I think that this is a good investment for the city. There's considerable evidence that municipal utilities do save money across the United States. The American Public Power Association reports that municipal utilities get 11% better rates. The consultant study that the city hired indicated the city could get up to 20% better rates through this. None of that's really been confirmed at this point, and as the prior speakers have made evident, this is part of the due diligence process. We have to go in and make sure those numbers are right. But there's every reason to go forward with this from an economic standpoint. And I think also it's bad to stop and start projects. I mean, I think once we've got rolling on something like this, there's a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement behind it. Staff is keyed up on it. The council's got everything in place. So, you know, I encourage you to stay the course on that. And of course, you know, there will be attacks on this, and those attacks will go on. What we've been advised by the city's attorney, Howard Golub, who is a prior PG&E counsel, is that one of the important things to do is to keep moving, don't delay, get the process over with before, you know, it becomes just too burdensome and difficult and so forth. So those are my comments, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Gene. Welcome.
Good evening, guys. My name is George Soros. I'm a resident of Davis. I also plan to make Davis my home and raise a family here in the future. I'm very concerned with the long-term economic health and well-being of the area for that reason. I've been following the city's efforts to pursue a publicly owned utility, and I have to say that I'm not too satisfied with it so far. The city has already spent $400,000 studying the issue and wants to spend another $600,000 to study it more. After spending $1 million, will the city even have a true sense of what it would cost to purchase a PG&E facility? With that being said, I don't believe at this time there is a reason to spend $1 million to study something that is probably unfeasible and unlikely for the city to implement. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, George. Welcome.
Good evening. Joshua Cunningham, resident of Davis. I also work for the state and understand the need to enact bold actions at the local and state level to meet climate change issues. And I simply want to state tonight that I request that we move forward with the evaluation of this. The study to look at this POU issue will not bind us to a decision at the council level. It's simply the matter of investigating what are all the costs and the options for implementing this locally. There are also a number of other cities in the state that we can look to for examples, and I fully advise that we have staff work with other cities, understand what was the process going through the evaluation process, how it works and doesn't work in their area. So that's my simple comment.
Good. Thank you, Joshua, very much. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Richard McCann. I'm going to take 15 seconds to make a pitch for a robotics competition before I get into my comments, which is the high school robotics competition is at UC Davis, March 14th and 15th, sponsored 10th year at UC Davis. And the local team, 1678 Citrus Circuits, was world championship semifinalists last year and will be competing there. So advertisement done. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. I just want to let you know that there is a group of citizens, you heard from Lorenzo Christoph last night, who are meeting with Mr. Niederberger about the next move forward on looking at the municipalization plan and how to structure that plan in such a way that you get the product that you need in order to make a good decision. And if you make the decision to go forward with the POU, that you will have a complete product that will be a full business plan, that will have all of the angles looked at. I think that one of the things you really need to look at, which is, I'll steal an analogy from Gerry Braun when I talked to him about this, is that what you got in the report and what a lot of people talk about is a 20th century utility, and what you need to plan for is a 21st century utility. The problem right now is that PG&E is still on the 20th century utility plan, and you can see that in their opposition to SB 43 and to the implementation of that. And so what we want to look at is the question, can we get on a different path in a way that's cost effective and really protects ratepayers, but also takes advantage of those opportunities? You have a group of people in the city of Davis who are actually available to do this work for you. I have a list of 20 people in my pocket right now that I could call up and participate in this plan and do it, and it would be all local. You don't need to go to outside contractors in order to do this. You can create a team in the city in order to do this. And so I just strongly urge you to stay the course. There is a way of creating this plan in such a way that you can keep moving forward and still have all of your options open, but really be able to look at the future in a way that you can create what you want the utility to look like. So I want you to consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Good. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Corvosa, council members. My name is Elisa Odango. I am the PG&E Government Relations Manager for the area. We appreciate the city's willingness to meet with PG&E regarding its energy goals. And as you know, PG&E has a long-standing partnership with the city and has provided energy efficiency savings and support for renewable generation projects for local residents and businesses to help reduce costs and save energy. We value this partnership and look forward to continuing to help the city achieve its energy efficiency goals. For more than 100 years, it's been our privilege to serve customers in Davis, and we look forward to the opportunity to do so for many years to come. Thank you for your time.
Good. Thank you very much, Elisa. Welcome.
Mayor Corvosa and council members. Chris Granger with Cool Davis. I did send a letter on behalf of the Cool Davis Foundation Board of Directors, and so I won't repeat all the details in there, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things. First of all, Cool Davis doesn't have a position on the public utility. We don't think we're in a position with all the information yet to make that call. But however, you do know that we have a position on the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, and which calls for a thorough analysis of our community energy use and its infrastructure, and this a process moving forward with looking at this continued study of the public utility is in line with the Climate Action Plan. We also see that currently, the city is engaged in a study of doing an energy plan for the community, looking out at how we get at our climate action goals, a roadmap to that future. This process will provide us with even more of the data and information that we need for that energy plan. That energy plan process is already ongoing. So any delays in this information and this process with PG&E will actually delay information that's critical to that plan. That plan is going to open the door for more funding for our community to work on the energy challenges that we have in front of us. And so delaying this process now is not going to do our other processes, what Cool Davis is doing to inform our citizens about programs and services and opportunities in energy efficiency, what our friends at Valley Climate Action Center are doing to lay out our energy plan for the future. Those things are not going to be able to be put in place as well as if we continue with this process with PG&E. I do believe the community outreach process can be planned and conducted in a way that contributes to what we're already doing with talking with our community about energy, and that we can learn from that process and use that learning for our other programs and services as we move forward. So thank you very much, and I hope that you will continue moving forward.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you to Cool Davis for its input.
Hello, my name is Dan Berman, and I've been talking to the city council, different city councils since 1997, on and off on these issues. And I think it's just wonderful people are getting together, competent people, people who've been involved with utilities for decades to try to make this happen in an intelligent way. Now, it's very nice for Miss Elisa Odango to come, and she was paid to come here and say this is basically too expensive, too costly, and too risky. And at the end of January, she said, in fact, that the value of the 71,000 PG&E electric meters that we were working to annex back in 2006 was, I think the figure she gave was $563 million. Well, you know, the Sacramento LAFCO said the real figure was between $80 and $120 million. PG&E was paying taxes on $71 million, so maybe they've been underpaying their taxes all these years. So when someone comes from PG&E to tell us, and they're nice people, they're intelligent people, they went to good colleges like as all of us did, you have to remember they're paid to mouth certain concepts and to frighten people into doing nothing, okay? Now, public power is, what we're talking about is a democratization of the energy system. We're talking about taking out of the control out of people who, by law, are required to collect, 10 or 12% on their investment. That 10 or 12% is going to get reinvested into the city. There are almost 4 dozen publicly owned utilities in the state. They provide close to 1/4 of the kilowatt hours sold in the state. They charge a lot less than PG&E. The first utility in the state was Alameda, founded in 1887. This is not rocket science. But if it were, we'd do it better than PG&E. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Mr. Mayor,
Welcome.
and councilors, I'm Dean Newberry. I served on Bill's Energy Task Force a decade or so ago. But really, the kind of the informative conversation I've had recently was with Terry Vernon at the county. And he said, oh my God, don't do this. It'll take you 20 years to get this done. And I just looked over at the board there and saw the city council where we got the energy conservation ordinance passed in 1976. That was a 2-year fight. That's the beginning date. We're now 44 years into this battle. This is just another step along the way of achieving energy independence and sustainability for the city of Davis. So let me take a pause here and check my notes. I think I'm ready to close it here. Basically, I think that the ship of POU here is ready to leave the dock. The tide is running out. The wind is at our backs. Captain, counselors, and comrades, let's tighten our lines and square our sails and meet the challenges of the journey with joy, confident in our ability to beat through the storms and seize the opportunities that we have to come. Will we be mere passengers on this voyage into our energy future? Or will we be principals fully invested, managing our sustainable energy enterprise? Tonight, you get to choose the next step. I'm confident you will choose to invest, manage, and control our energy future. Go do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. No clapping.
I wasn't going to say anything.
And the next poet would please address the audience.
But Herb Niederberger inspired me. I mean, look over there. Step number 1, good faith meetings with PG&E. Step number 2, due diligence. What's missing? Step 0, and that's why we are here right now, is that there is a need for good faith meetings with the voters. This is the piece that has been missing from this all the way along. It's something we can do. Richard has talked about the myriad of people in this community who hear. The pushback is because people don't understand this. So I strongly suggest that we add step number 0 before any of the other steps, to have good faith meetings with the voters to understand, so they can understand why this is in their best interest. We're going to spend upwards of $6 million of electrical power just with the water and wastewater utilities in 2018, based on the information that's there. That doesn't include what is other parts of the city. If we can save 10%, that's $600,000 a year payback. So this is clearly worth looking at. People in the voters don't understand why the wastewater fund would spend $400,000 to look at this. Well, if they can save $600,000 a year, spending $400,000 is a good civic step to trying to save money for the taxpayers and for the ratepayers. The problem is that the voters don't understand it.
So at the risk of repeating myself, add step 0. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. With that, I see no more public.